With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Auburn, Alabama, the best atmosphere in all of college sports.
He drives and slips. Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn. Going deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline. Going to the inside.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
"68 teams, one champion, a million debates in between. From Cinderella stories to powerhouse showdowns, March Madness is upon us, and we could not be more excited. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. My name is Vince Wolfram. Grab your brackets, people. We've got some breakdowns to do, but you won't have to read into it too far because the team we're going to talk about first happens to be first. The narrative around Auburn men's basketball and their season has changed a bit over the last 4 games of the regular season, starting 2 Saturdays ago in Neville Arena when rival Alabama came to town. JoJo Kavanaugh was in the house for this game, and calling it a thriller may just be an understatement, JoJo.
Number 1 Auburn, number 7 Alabama, the Iron Bowl of basketball. The Crimson Tide came into Neville Arena today looking to spoil senior day and defeat the number 1 team in the country. And they did so in a way that no one could have expected.
I think it was a good play call because, it caused a lot of confusion, and they didn't know if they, earlier in the game, they were switching everything guard to guard. So, I did a quick hand off the Baron, they didn't switch, and I was able to get downhill with my left hand, and I was able to get it off with enough time. So, it was a pretty good play.
That buzzer beater from Mark Sears was a wild ending to what was a wild game. Tied at 69 with just under 6 minutes in the second half, shots were made on both sides of the court before going into overtime, tied at 79.
Obviously, those are 2 teams that are capable of getting to the Final Four. Both teams stepped up in a lot of ways and played great basketball.
It was the same deal in overtime. Back and forth Auburn and Alabama, with Janai Broome having 8 of Auburn's 12 overtime points. However, it wasn't enough as Alabama was the last team standing.
This is a big win for us. It's a big win for all of Alabama fans. So, it's good to just have that going into both tournaments. And, we still got a lot to learn from this. I don't think we finished it perfect, but, we came out with the win.
Despite a career-high 34 points from Janai Broome, Auburn could not pull off the sweep of Alabama. This is Auburn's 2nd loss in a row for the first time this season.
It's a tough way to go out, especially last game in Neville. I would like for it to be different. We just can't, we got to realize the regular season's over with. We still won the regular season championship. That's not good enough for us, though. We let 2 games slip in a row. That's not like us. But whether we like it or not, now it's tournament time. So we got the SC tournament to look forward to, and then March Madness. So now it's win or go home, basically. So we got to lock in.
Final from Neville Arena, Alabama 93, Auburn 91. Tigers look next to Nashville for the SEC tournament where they will be the 1 seed. For Eagle Eye TV Sports, I'm Jolie Kavanaugh.
Well, it's a good thing the season-ending awards aren't given based on your final game because Auburn ended up with plenty of hardware. We can start with the head man, Bruce Pearl. He was named SEC Coach of the Year for the 2nd time during his tenure at Auburn. The all-time winningest coach in program history with 227 wins has received the nod for SEC Coach of the Year 4 total times. Next, Plant City, Florida product Janai Broome was honored as SEC Player of the Year. Broome became the third ever player in program history to receive this title, plus he found himself on the All-SEC first team for the second straight season. Broome and Pearl were accompanied by Chad Baker-Mazzara on the All-SEC third team, Denver Jones on the SEC All-Defensive team, and freshman Tahad Pettiford on the All-SEC freshman team. Auburn is in the building, people, and from one building to another, Auburn to Nashville, the SEC tournament was here. It's time. Getting real, people. College hoops clock is ticking. Auburn earned the #1 seed in the tournament after winning the regular season title of the conference outright. Friday was the team's first game in the quarterfinal against Chris Beard and Ole Miss. This game was a stale one. Not a ton of big highlights or action. It was more so a tough it out, last team with the ball would win kind of game. And that is just the way it ended. A shot from Janai Broome with just over 10 seconds to play put Auburn over the top and helped the Tigers get the victory 62-57. Next, Saturday, the Volunteers of Tennessee found their way to the semifinal game. First game between these two teams was won by Auburn and the help of a big-time Miles Kelly corner triple. This time, it ended just a little bit differently. In a game that Janai Broome dominated from start to finish, the rest of the team was in foul or offensive trouble. With 4 chances to take the lead in the final minute and a half, just heartbreaking, Auburn was unable to overtake Zakai Ziegler and company, falling to Tennessee 70-65. A tough exit for the #1 in the SEC tournament semifinal in Nashville. Cue the March Madness music. Not to fear, Auburn fans. Before you could blink, big dance time. The NCAA tournament is here, and it began with the bracket reveal on Selection Sunday. My opinion, the best hoops day of the year. Luckily, if you even watched the first 2 minutes of that show, you knew exactly where Auburn was headed. The #1 overall seed for the first time in school history was shipping up to Lexington, Kentucky for its first weekend game. An awfully cool first to have, but the job is 6 games from being finished, according to head coach Bruce Pearl. Micah Farmer is with us here this evening, and Micah, your thoughts on Auburn solidifying a fantastic season's worth of quad 1 wins with the #1 overall seed?
Well, Vince, I think it was absolutely deserved. I know there was a lot of conversation about maybe Duke or Houston jumping Auburn for that at the last second. First off, I think the Houston one was a bit ridiculous when you look at the strength of the Big 12 versus the SEC this season. I understand Duke a bit more because they've been murdering everyone. That team is one of the best in KenPom we've seen in a very long time. But still, at the end of the day, the committee stayed consistent on what they've previously done with resume metrics, things like that. Auburn's had the best resume metrics pretty much all season by a long shot, thanks to Maui and the out-of-conference schedule that Coach Pearl and the Tigers put together. So I think the 1 overall seed is absolutely deserved for the Tigers.
Yeah, certainly good to look at it as a full season thing versus a conference championship thing, because Auburn was great all year. And all the talk when the brackets come out, Micah, is about which team has a hard region, a hard matchup, a hard side of the bracket. And Auburn's side is filled to the brim with storylines, potential Cinderella stories. Tom Izzo, Michigan State as the 2. Iowa State, who Auburn defeated at the buzzer in Maui after trailing by 18 whole points. Texas A&M, who Auburn lost to just over a couple weeks ago. Yale, who Auburn lost to last year in the round of 32. See what I mean, dude? Storylines all over the place. Micah, of all those storylines in the South region, which is your favorite?
My favorite storyline is one of the teams you didn't mention. It's 12 seed UC San Diego. How about the Tritons in their first year of eligibility for the NCAA tournament after moving up from lower levels? They won the Big West, did it in dominant fashion, secured the win over UC Irvine late last weekend. This is a team that's run the gauntlet this year, really taking care of business, has solid resume and predictive metrics as well. A team I think should have been an at-large even if they didn't win their conference. And this UCSD team is fun. I think they're going to put on a good show in the tournament, so that is my favorite storyline for this region.
You know, Micah, I got to go 5-seed Michigan. They got Danny Wolf from the Yale team that beat Auburn last year, and former Auburn point guard Trey Donaldson, who had a big game winner in the conference tournament. Michigan is my pick there. Now, Micah, round of 64, Auburn, their first game of the tournament, the winner of the play-in game between 16 seeds between Alabama State and St. Francis in Dayton. That game, Tuesday night at 5:40 on your grandma's favorite television channel, True TV. Auburn has never faced St. Francis. The Red Flash, 20th team since 1985 to make the NCAA tournament with a losing record. They're 17-19 right now. Auburn is undefeated all time against Alabama State, 6-0. And the Hornets, they're hungry though. They haven't reached the tournament in over 14 years. Micah, you look at these two teams, what do you see?
Well, I see a lot of good shooting across these two separate teams. Alabama State especially. C.J. Hines is one of the best players of these higher seeds. Averages just over 14 points a game, shoots almost 40% from three. Was a real key to the Hornets winning their conference tournament. Amar Knox also has tremendous upside when he's on. However, has been very cold as of late. Also averages a little over 14 points, but hasn't been shooting from behind the arc as great, especially in the conference tournament. Really struggled. TJ Madlock is another one of these great guards. And then the sleeper on this team is Tyler Mack. Remember when Auburn played Duke and Isaiah Evans went off? No one really knew who Isaiah Evans was yet. Tyler Mack has that kind of potential. Shoots 38.5% from three, is a lethal shooter when he's on. And Alabama State really guard heavy. 9 out of their top 11 minute getters are guards. As for St. Francis, this is the only team in the field that comes in with under a 500 record, but they've won 6 in a row, won their conference tournament, obviously, and they've won 8 of their last 10. This team plays at a slower pace than Alabama State, so if this game slows down, expect SFU to really take the lead, which I believe is what is happening right now live as we record this. They are in the lead, and they have some good shooters too. Riley Parker, Ace Talbert, both great shooting guards. Juan Cranford Jr., all at basically 38% or higher from behind the three-point arc. And then Valentino Pinedo, the Spanish terror up front for this team. 6'8", 10 points per game, 6.5 rebounds. This is the real key to this team down in the block. So I believe they're still up right now, and I would be willing to bet Pinedo is a big part of that, plus the slower pace.
So at this point, it could be SFU versus Auburn in the first round, and the winner will go on to play either 8-seed Louisville, which, if you're a ball knower, you know they were pretty unfairly placed as an 8-seed, despite coming in at number 10 in the AP polls this week. Kind of crazy. Or the 9-seed, the Creighton Blue Jays. Auburn, 1-1 all-time against both programs, Creighton and Louisville. Micah, if Auburn can handle the first round like most expect them to, which team would be a better matchup and give advantage to Auburn in round 2?
Well, I hear a lot of Auburn fans that are wanting to see Louisville. I would actually disagree with that. I am more worried about this Louisville team than Creighton. I think Auburn has the ability to slow down Stephen Ashworth and Ryan Kalkbrenner despite their superstar ability, so I would rather take that over the multiple threats that Louisville has. I know Louisville really doesn't have a huge presence down low like Kalkbrenner, but Javon Hadley is at least a solid kind of in-betweener for them, 12.1 points a game, and then you know what you're getting with the guard play. Terrence Edwards Jr., an incredible player. Chucky Hepburn, you've seen what he's been doing all season. And then Rain Smith, now confirmed to be healthy and ready to go for the tournament, led the ACC and made three-pointers. So that team can knock down shots, and we all know that good guard play is what matters in the tournament. So I would be more scared to face this Louisville team if I was Auburn.
Yeah, understandably so. And if you look at the field as a whole, 14 SEC teams entered this year's Big Dance, which is a record. You got some hot teams from the Big East and Big Ten, some sleeper from the Midwest and the Big 12. A lot to try to predict, along with plenty of potential fantastic matchups. Micah, you look at which region in this tournament, when you see it, do you think, goodness gracious, this is the region of death? There's always one every year. For you this year, which one is it?
Well, for me, it's the South this year. We talked about all the storylines already. Michigan State is a team I really like in March. Auburn, #1 overall seed. A&M is a very physical team. Michigan has some great athletes on that team. Obviously had the Big Ten championship run, but I think a close runner-up to as a region I know you like a lot as that region of death, and that's the West, where Florida is and St. John's. So I think you could go for either of them, but for me personally, it's going to be the South.
Yeah, I would have to say the West. I feel like it's just stacked from top to bottom, and I know you said Michigan State. Gary Gesh is a huge Michigan State guy. We'll talk about our bracket predictions just a little bit later in the show. And Micah, we can do this all day, literally all day. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to hit pause and save it for the end of the show. We'll get to that just a little bit later. Micah and I, however, we will be in Lexington to cover the game, so don't you worry, the action is far from finished. Can never stop Mother Nature, though, and only one person has a slight shot. Eagle Eye weather reporter Albert Osorio, who has your Eagle Eye view of all things forecast here on Sports Night at Auburn, coming up.
Hey, can you chop the pineapple? Chop the
pineapple.
Nope. I'm high. How about I wash off the grapes?
Yes.
Okay.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
I want tacos. Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope. I'm high. Let's order in.
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Albert Osorio, here to give you your weather outlook for this week. The tennis courts will be alive this weekend as the women will have their matchups against Vanderbilt and Missouri on Friday and Sunday, while the men face Kentucky and Tennessee on Thursday and Saturday. Soccer will also play on Saturday against Mercer as part of their spring exhibition season. Thursday will likely see some windy conditions affecting some play on the court and dropping the temperature, but Friday and Sunday will see clear to partly cloudy skies. Highs will average around 69 degrees, while the lows will be around 40. If you are traveling to Lexington, Kentucky to see Auburn basketball play in the first and second rounds, expect mostly windy conditions there, with highs around 54 degrees and lows down to 37. That's all I have for your weather outlook this week. When we come back, you will hear more from Vince, Gehrig, and Brooks. Once again, I'm Albert Osorio, and you're watching Sports Night in Auburn.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
I'll be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew.
Basketball is in full swing for one half of Auburn's basketball programs. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn, where I'm joined by Brooks Crew, Gary Gesh, and Keegan Miller. Brooks, you got the update on Auburn women's basketball, as plenty has gone down in that program recently.
Yeah, Vince, Auburn women's basketball took a trip to Greenville, South Carolina for the first round of the SEC tournament. The Tigers faced the Florida Gators in the first round, but did not come out on top, ending the game with a final score of 60-50. The tournament defeat marked Auburn's 7th consecutive loss, and the Tigers finished regular season in a 4-way tie for last place in the SEC. The following day, Auburn head coach Johnny Harris was fired after coaching 4 seasons for the Tigers. After a tough season followed by the firing of their coach, Auburn players Thalia Scott, Jakaya Milton, and Audia Young have entered their names into the transfer portal. As Auburn women's basketball navigates through this time of uncertainty, the team's future is focused on finding new leadership and building onto the team. Now, let's throw it to Gehrig for some updates on track and field.
Auburn track and field made it to the pinnacle in indoor competition this past week as they brought 9 athletes to nationals in Virginia Beach.
All 9 came back with All-American honors, with Maka Charamba, Vimbai Masfarewa, Kain Sola Ajayi, Jacoby Tharp, and Israel Okon earning first-team distinctions. SEC champion Maka Charamba continued his historical season by going 20.16 to take second place in the nation in the 200-meter run. And then you couldn't talk about the distance of 60 meters without talking about the Tigers, with hurdles or without. In the traditional 60, Ajayi and Okon both landed on the podium, finishing second and third in the nation, each running 6.52 seconds in the sprint. Then in the 60-meter hurdles, Jacoby Tharp dropped the competition to win gold in 7.45 seconds. That time broke his own school record, and the first-place medal was Auburn's first at Indoor Nationals since 2007. Those special performances from the men was good enough to bring back their second consecutive trophy as they finished third overall. Congrats to the track and field team on a huge indoor season. Now I'll swing things over to my guy Keegan to take us through some baseball.
Thank you, Garrett. When I saw y'all last, I asked if Auburn could continue to play at the level of ball they have been playing. Well, let's find out. First, we need to look back at the Old Dominion series, where the Tigers sat at number 20. They took Game 1 and Game 3 from the Monarchs, but dropped Game 2 11-9. The 10-4 win in Game 1 was highlighted by shortstop Derek Fabian, who went 3 for 4 at the dish with 3 RBIs and a solo moonshot. The Tigers snagged Game 3 7-3, backed by a strong start from Christian Chatterson, going 5 2/3 innings, allowing just 1 run. The next stop for the Tigers was against UT Martin, where the Orange and Blue handled business yet again, winning 6-1. Eric Snow led the offense with 3 hits and RBIs, showed off his power by letting one fly deep in the 5th inning. Alex Petrovic led the pitching staff, shoving 5 1/3 innings of 1-run ball, fanning 8 and allowing just 1 hit. Our final series recap tonight is a big one. Number 13 Vanderbilt here at Plainsman to take on number 23 Auburn. All 3 of these games were hard-fought bloodbaths till the end of the series. At the end of the series, it was the Orange and Blue who were victorious, grabbing both the opener and the closer Friday and Sunday. Sam Dutton, who I told you to used to hearing about from me, went out for another deep outing, allowing just 2 runs in 7 innings of work at Auburn's 5-2 series opening win. The Commodores struck back in Game 2, claiming an 8-6 victory after clawing back from Auburn's early 4-run lead. But all changed again in the rubber match, where Auburn came back from a 5-run deficit to win 7-6, thanks to a monstrous grand slam from none other than Cade Ballou in the bottom of the 8th. Auburn is now ranked number 16, heading into another tough stretch of their schedule, where after they finish up against Alabama State tonight, they will head up to Kentucky, but not to watch Auburn basketball, to play against the number 24 ranked Wildcats. But that's not all we have, because we have another outstanding freshman to talk about with this team, because of course we do. Andreas Alvarez earned Auburn its 3rd SEC Freshman of the Week. Alvarez, who recently moved to a middle relief role, has found his footing in 2 outings last week where he went 6 scoreless frames and retired all but 1 batter. That's very impressive. The key to Auburn's success in recent series is their ability to go deep in games early in the series with starters like Sam Dutton and Christian Chatterson. If this bullpen can keep eating innings the way I eat fajitas at a Golden Corral, which is a lot of innings, they should be golden in their stretch on the SEC. Back to Garrick for some more updates on the Diamond.
After a 12-2 midweek win over Troy, Tigers softball opened up SEC play in Starkville 2 weeks ago, taking on the 21st-ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Tigers scored 4 runs in each game, but could not find the pitching to match. They fell 5-4, 9-4, and 7-4. Auburn softball then hosted a tough top-5 Texas A&M team this past week at Jane B. Moore Field. The Tigers weren't able to do enough in any of the 3 matchups as they suffered their 2nd straight SEC sweep. The opener on Friday was full of excitement and tension as the Tigers had the tying run on base in extra innings, but the Aggies held on to win 5-4. And then it was far from close on Saturday, with A&M taking the game 13-2 in 5 innings. The bats went cold in Game 3 as they failed to play to run, falling 3-0. The Malvos team will look to bounce back when they take on South Alabama tomorrow. Now let's jump back to Brooks for Equestrian. Number 1 Auburn Equestrian took a ride to Texas to face off against number 2 Southern Methodist University on Friday, March 7th. With these being the top 2 teams, it was a hard-fought matchup. However, SMU came out on top with a final score of 12-7. With this match being Auburn's 2nd loss of the season, the Tigers still remain at number 1 with a record of 11 wins, 2 losses. Auburn came back the next day with a win against Texas A&M on Saturday with a final score of 11-9. 2 Tigers, Mary Grace Seegers and Caroline Friedenberg, were named SEC Riders of the Month for February. Moving forward, Auburn will head to Mill Spring, North Carolina for the 2025 SEC Equestrian Championships starting Friday, March 28th. Now, to Vince for a little trivia.
Guys, thank you very much. North Carolina in the news a lot over the last couple days. That is probably the most important one, though. Before we go to break, we're gonna head to trivia, and we're gonna start with some Auburn football trivia. How about that? Who does Auburn football kick their 2025 season off against? A, Mercer, B, Baylor, C, Ball State, or D, South Alabama? We'll have the answer when we come back.
My parents weren't fluent in English, so in school, I had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Hey, Kevin, you thinking about retirement?
I'd love to, but I'm pretty busy with all this.
Yeah. Hey, let's meet our retirement coach, Avo. A is for taking action.
Not anxiety?
No, Kevin, you're gonna be fine.
You sing?
Barely. V is for variety.
And you dance?
Sort of. Come on. O is for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. We have the answer to the trivia question we left you with just before the break. Who does Auburn football kick off their 2025 season against? The answer? Letter B. The Baylor Bears are the opening weekend opponent for the 2025 campaign. The season opener was originally scheduled for Saturday, but was moved to Friday, August 29th at McLean Stadium in Waco, Texas earlier this month. The home opener in 2025 is against Ball State the following weekend, and don't you worry, football is only just a little bit away. Official spring practice starts 1 week from today on March 25th, plus annual A-Day spring game is set for Saturday, April 12th. Football is great. Champions are better. Auburn Golf won something like that last year and is on the trophy chase again this season. Brooks and Garrick, these guys have been living on the course. I want to brag on Garrick for a second. I was joked on him for being 100 over. In fact, he actually holed out for eagle on number 7 at Rocky Bayou Country Club in Niceville, Florida. Shout out, Garrick. Brooks, you got it. Take it away. We're going to let Garrick bask in the glory for a second.
I'll try not to take too much away from Garrick's glory here, but Auburn men's golf has successfully reclaimed their first place ranking as they continue through the regular season. Currently, the Tigers are soaking up some sunshine in North Carolina for the General Hackler Championship. The Tigers extended their lead after the first 2 rounds and wrapped up the tournament earlier today with their second straight tournament win, highlighted by Brendan Valdez netting his 3rd career individual win. Moving forward, the Tigers will head to Palm City, Florida for the Valspar Collegiate starting Monday, March 24th. Now, over to Mr. Eagle himself, Garrett Gesh, for an update on women's golf.
Yeah, Brooks, I'm still thinking about it. Pitching wedge, about 120 yards out, it was great. Anyway, the women's team was up in Aiken, South Carolina this past week to compete in the Old Barnwell Match Play Tournament. The 18th-ranked Tigers fell in all 3 matchups against tough competition. They were defeated by Wake Forest, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss, all by a score of 3-2. A tough week for the Tigers, but a well-fought effort in the eyes of head coach Melissa Llewellyn. They will be in action next week at the Women's Collegiate Invitational in Fort Worth, Texas. Let's move from the golf swing to the swing of the tennis racket. Brooks?
Yeah, Auburn women's tennis has been serving up some heat these past 2 weeks as they continue their regular season play. The Tigers hosted the Horns Down Aggies out weekend where they lost to Texas A&M, but came back to defeat number 9 Texas with a score of 4-3 for their 4th win this season. Shortly after, the Tigers defeated both Alabama and Mississippi State this past weekend, bringing their record to 15 wins and 4 losses. Coming up, Auburn will face number 16 Vanderbilt this Friday, March 21st. Now, to Garrick for an update on the guys.
2 weeks ago, the Tigers men's tennis team traveled to Texas for 2 ranked road matches against Texas A&M and Texas. They couldn't get the job done in either of those, falling 5-2 and 4-1. A bright spot from the weekend, however, was Alex Frisina, as he was named SEC Freshman of the Week for his efforts in the Lone Star State. They flushed the losses quickly and had themselves a week as they won 3 big matches over number 18 Oklahoma, Belmont, and Ole Miss. Those 3 wins at the Yarborough Tennis Center moved the Tigers' perfect home record to 10-0. That number will look to move to 13-0 this weekend as Kentucky, Tennessee, and Alabama A&M travel to the Plains. Now let's flip it over to Brooks for more on Tiger gymnastics.
Yeah, Garrick, Auburn has had 2 Tigers versus Tigers matchup in the past 2 weeks. That's a lot of 2s. Auburn started out with a meet against Mizzou, but even with strong scores across the board, Auburn's score of 197.15 did not beat Mizzou's score of 198.1. After that, the Tigers took on number 2 Louisiana State University. Sophia Weber has more.
I'm standing in the tunnel where the seniors for the Auburn women's gymnastics team ran out into Neville Arena for the last time. Their farewell featured a top 15 matchup against LSU. Auburn had a trip to the SEC tournament on the line. For senior night, Sarah Hubbard kicked things off with a 9.9. Paige Zankin hit a 9.975 on this vault. This is the best performance the team has seen this season. Over on bars, LSU had 4 of 6 gymnasts hold a score of 9.9 or above. Auburn's Caroline Leonard has a clean transition to execute this kip cast into a fully extended handstand and was able to close it out with a stuck landing. Freshman Kaylin Chio earned the coveted perfect score on this vault. The last time an Auburn Tiger had a perfect 10 was when Suni Lee was on bars. She was in attendance as the Tigers had their second highest final score of this season. The lineup for beam was less consistent than the Tigers are known for, and on the other apparatus, the defending national champions cruised along with few deductions the entire night. Coach Jeff Graba spoke about Auburn's postseason potential.
I don't know. I'm not sure anybody else in the country's withstood so much since the month of February started as this team, and we just came back and proved to ourselves again that we are a contender.
To end the night, senior Sophia Groth was one of 4 Tigers to score a 9.925 on floor. The LSU Tigers get the win by 65 hundredths. You can see both teams on March 22nd in Birmingham for the SEC Championships. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Sophia Weber.
Coming up next, Auburn will head to the 2025 SEC Gymnastics Championship beginning this Saturday, March 22nd. Now, back over to Garrick for some swim and dive.
The Auburn swim and dive team recently finished up their NCAA Zone B diving championships at the James E. Martin Aquatic Center. The 3-day event saw several male and female swimmers punch their ticket to the big event, the NCAA Championships in Federal Way, Washington. It all gets underway for the 11 women who qualified for the meet tomorrow. Emily Halifax will be the lone diver for the Tigers, and she will be joined by swimmers Laura Kamaraxi, Morgan Cartreau, Stasia Makarova, Lisa Klavanovich, Lexi Mulvihill, Julia Straznausa, and Audrey Crawford. Alternates for the relays include Paulina Nevmenenko, Willow Hansen, Bella Eck, and Abby Gibbons. Good luck to all of those Tigers as they get ready to compete on the biggest stage of the sport. Now, am I reading this right? I think I am. We have soccer talk in the spring. Take it away, Brooks.
You know, Gary, that was really impressive, but Auburn soccer is back in action as they continue their spring exhibition matches. This Saturday, the Tigers will face the Mercer Bears right at home at the Auburn Soccer Complex. The game starts at 2 p.m. Central Time, and there will be a post-match kids clinic and autograph session. Now, I caught rumor that Vince might have some soccer trivia for us. Is that right, Vince?
Yeah, Garrick on his Eagle really wanted a participation trophy, but nobody gets more than kindergarten soccer. Brooks Crew, they called him the goal machine back in the day. Plenty of participation trophies for that guy, and we've got one more participation thing before we head to break. We're going to trivia here. Auburn soccer trivia. How about that? What is the Auburn soccer program record for career shutouts? Shout-out to Brooks Crew, but shutouts here. A, 36, B, 28, C, 43, or D, 31. We'll have the answer when we return.
We need to go meet the guys. I'm lit. Can you drive?
Pool party at Jesse's. Can you drive? Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, up high. But I can order us a ride.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different.
Pool party at Jesse's. Can you drive? I'm toasted.
Nope, up high. But I can order us a ride.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different.
Or that the projections would be flood next Thursday?
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Let's take a look at the trivia question we left you with before the break. We've got the answer. The Auburn soccer program record for career shutouts is A, 36 of them. This record was set by Auburn alumni Maddie Prohaska. She spent 5 years on the Plains, and in 96 matches, her 36 shutouts helped make her the third in SEC history in that category. As a grad student in 2024, Prohaska started all 21 matches and recorded 12 shutouts in those matches. Now check this out. Prohaska staying in the headlines because she was just signed to her first professional contract in the NWSL with the Seattle Reign for the 2025 season. 2 soccer alums from Auburn in the NWSL now as Prohaska joins Alyssa Melanson in the league. Changing fields now, soccer to the gridiron. Micah Farmer just appeared out of thin air and is here with updates on the former Auburn Tigers getting their names shipped around in the NFL. Micah?
Well, Vince, every time NFL free agency comes around, there's always some numbers that make your eyes wide and say, they can't possibly be that high. But unlike what you see on Gary Gesch's golf scorecard, none of these values are exaggerated. First up, Jamian Sherwood for the Jets signed a 3-year deal worth $45 million. Carlton Davis is going to the Patriots, 3 years, $54 million. Jonathan Jones to the Commanders, 1-year deal, $5.5 million. Jared Stidham staying with the Broncos, 2 years, $12 million. Darius Slayton still on the Giants, 3 years, $36 million. And then KJ Britt has signed a 1-year deal with the Dolphins.
Keep giving us great updates like that, and you'll be making those same millions here soon, Micah. A lot of names on the move in the NFL, lots of names in the NBA on the come up too. Micah, 2 AU dudes that have had great weeks in the NBA, and one who might not be an AU dude, but we kind of claim him. Who we got?
Yeah, first off, as always, it's Walker Kessler, who despite losing to the Raptors because he's on the Jazz, and that's what the Jazz do, did put up 18 points, 25 rebounds, and 8 blocks. Jabari Smith in an overtime thriller versus the 76ers put up 30 points along with Jalen Green. And Jalen Green's that guy you mentioned, would have been an Auburn Tiger if not going straight to the G League.
It would be great if we could get some more wins like that, and if you could get some on your bracket this month, that would be even better. Now it's time for Trending Tigers. Micah, come on in here. We're going to go 3 categories here on the best page that you can print out in the month of March. We're going to do a guaranteed pick, a lock, an upset pick, and an unpopular pick. Garrick, we'll start with you. Give us your guaranteed win in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Well, Vince, my guaranteed win does not come from one of the 4 seeds or one of the 4-1 seeds. It's a 2 seed. Give me the Michigan State Spartans. They got the Garrett Gesh guarantee this weekend.
Okay, the green Garrett Gesh guarantee. That's a lot of G's. Good stuff. Micah, who we got?
My guarantee is number 1 seed Florida over Norfolk State, and if that does not happen, I will chug a bottle of hot sauce on Sports Night in Auburn next week. Look forward to it.
He said he would eat one of my used flip-flops
yeah,
too.
I did.
So
I'm changing to something a bit more sanitary.
Stay tuned to that. No, we'll do both. Number 2 here.
Fine, put it on the flip-flop.
We're going to start
on the flip-flop.
I am upset pick. All right, here's what we're going to do. Micah, pick your upset pick in the first weekend of the Big Dance.
My upset for the first weekend is 13 seed High Point, over 4 seed Purdue. I think Purdue comes in a bit overrated. If Braden Smith has even a bit of an off day, High Point I think has the opening. They're extremely efficient on offense, can score with the best of them.
The Boilermaker Busters. That's what we got. Gary, who are we thinking?
Well, for me, my upset pick, Vince, is the Zips of Akron. Woo! They take Arizona out in the first round. I'm thinking about them in the Sweet 16. We'll see.
All right, we'll see. A good late pick there. I'm going to go with a team that I kept the receipts on from when they beat Kentucky in December. Why don't you go ahead and give me UNC Wilmington over Texas Tech in that first round? The 3 versus the 14, it's a questionable one. You never know who's the right pick is. I think UNC Wilmington is on a good track here. Last one here. We're going to go our unpopular pick. Last pick of the day. Micah Farmer, we'll start with you. Who you got?
My unpopular pick, and it's only that because I've seen everyone predicting the opposite. For some reason, everyone loves McNeese again as the 12 seed. McNeese is not moving on. They don't match up well with Clemson. The Tigers move on. They beat McNeese.
You're saying the only thing they got going for him is a cool manager with NIL deals. Proud of you, Micah. Who we got in your unpopular pick in the 2025?
Well, for me, a lot of people like BYU as their sleeper team to make it to the Final Four. Not for me. First round exits. It's VCU. The 11th seed moves on.
All right, I like that. I'm going to go with a tough one. And it's hard to pick the high seeds in the dance to get upset, but somebody's got to do it, right? I'm hearing a lot of Bill Self or John Calipari against Rick Pitino. Well, what if it's Chris Crutchfield instead of Rick Pitino, the head coach of Omaha? I got Omaha beating St. John's in the first round. Johnny's going down to the O. How about that one?
How about that indeed?
Can't leave more upset than JoJo Kavanaugh on this show with an upset and St. John's going down. But that is the end of the show, and we would like to thank our producer, JoJo Kavanaugh, our awesome crew, and make sure to like, subscribe, and follow all of our Eagle Eye TV social medias. But for this episode, this is going to be a crazy week because of this thing right here. We'll make sure to tune in next week with all the bracket updates. Good night, and War Eagle.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at Feeding America.